Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of the AI Radio Show. I am your host Arthi, and this is season 4, episode 7. Thank you so much for joining me. And today I am literally perplexed because we just crossed 500 subscribers on YouTube. I know that number sounds a little bit minimal. Basically, there are a lot of people with 100,000 subscribers, but then me doing this for like the past 3 months, full time and hitting 500 subscribers, it's a big deal because I am not this huge content creator who's like very much talented in creating videos, editing them, and so on. But then I constantly love sharing whatever I know about AI, so that in a very easy to understand, very much simplest way possible, so that anybody who kind of is like looking for learning AI and is like intimidated by all of those different different hype over there, and those who are like afraid that the AI might one day replace you, or you might be laid off and whatever. So this channel entirely exists for you. And recently, I crossed 11,000 followers on LinkedIn and now 500 subscribers on YouTube, which is kind of making me happy. And I understand that the content that I share across all of these platforms are very much welcomed by you guys, the audience. So Thank you very much again for being a constant support and watching all my videos, engaging on all my content. That really helps. So I quit my full-time role back at Zoho, and I wanted to become a solopreneur, building amazing products, teaching AI full-time, and that's exactly what I'm doing, and I love how it has turned out. So yeah, that was one of the things that happened just moments ago. So I just wanted to let you all know that it has finally happened. So thank you very much. Now, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Okay. Now, moving on to today's episode. As you'd have seen in the title, there is this concept called agentic loops, and also one more thing called Ralph Wiggum. So, if you're a fan of Simpsons, you might have heard of this person, Ralph Wiggum. Okay. So, basically, this specific technique is called Ralph Wiggum because, well, apparently I've not watched Simpsons, but when I was like looking into the specific technique and I just kind of wondered like why it was named Ralph Wiggum, I came to understand that Ralph Wiggum was someone who kind of like very sportive. No matter what is going on around him, he kind of like becomes the light of um any room that he enters, and so basically everybody is in love with him. So this Ralph Wiggum methodology that we are going to be looking at in a very short while also follows such a thing. So there are a couple of different things when it comes to Ralph Wiggum. So basically, it's kind of a loop if you think about it. You set a goal and then you let the agent think about it and act on it, and then the agent itself observes it, adjusts based on it, and then repeats it. Okay. So I wanted to kind of demo a specific YouTube growth agent, if you can call it. So it's like analyzing my past 20 or 50 videos, and it can generate new title ideas, and it can compare my channel with existing competitor channels. Let's say I post a lot about AI, so if there is another channel that's like growing pretty fast and they also post about AI, so it can seek inspirations from them and kind of like provide suggestions to me. So, and this runs in a cycle, okay, over and over and again. So basically, let me just show you the architecture of how what I've built so far. So bringing the screen to you. One second. I have like too many tabs open and I'm literally lost right now. So what I'm looking for is essentially my application that's running right now. Well, yeah, I did find it. Let me bring it to you. Okay. So, oh, it unexpectedly closed. No issues. Now I've lost the live screen. Look at me, so clumsy. Okay, now I'm gonna share my screen. Hmm, which screen do I want to share? Okay, let me do an entire screen. What's the harm? Okay. Oops, I lost the screen again. What's happening? Okay, oh, no, not this. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, so this is the application that I was talking about, which I built entirely using Google's anti-gravity. So basically, this is the architecture. If you look at it, let me just zoom in. Okay, so if you look at it, I've given it a bunch of inputs like API keys, the OAuth client secrets that's needed to kind of fetch the data from my YouTube, the YouTube analytics data, YouTube data in general. So all of those API keys. So this data fetcher tool kind of fetches all the information and maintains a cache so that it need not fetch every information at all points in time. And I have this channel analyst agent. So what this agent does is basically analyzes my channel, and gives me top content, mid content, and poor performers based on CTR and then retention of the audience who watch my videos. Okay, and I have a competitor spy agent which gets top 50 videos from the competitor YouTube channels and groups them by a topic and identifies content gap in my specific YouTube channel. And this happens in phase one. Now, with all of this information, it moves to phase two, which is the reflection loop. And I've given 5 maximum iterations. So basically, this is the Ralph Wiggum loop. Okay. So I have a strategy maker agent which helps me with a 30-day plan, video ideas, and thumbnails based on all the information that it has obtained from this specific set of agents. Okay, and now I have a critic agent which scores the strategy which is generated by the strategy maker on a score of like 1 to 10. Okay, and it maintains a 4-pillar rubric for scoring this. I'll show you what the 4 pillars are in just a moment. And I've set the temperature to around 0.15. This you can set it up as variable as you need. And if this critic agent score is like uh, 8 above 8 out of 10, this approves the specific strategy. Okay, and it saves the output. So if it's like less than 8, it will go back to the strategy maker. Strategy maker would create another strategy for me. Critic agent would score it again, and only when because I've given like maximum 5 iterations. So in that 5 iterations, it would look for anything that has scored about 8. If in those 5 iterations it did not score about 8, it will kill the whole process and then return a error message saying that none of the strategies were valid or something like that. Now, this entirely the whole thing, I'm running it because I'm like giving it access to my whole YouTube channel with via the API. I didn't want to go for any OpenAI or Gemini any cloud APIs. I'm running it on Qwen 3.5 9 billion parameter model on my MacBook Pro. And since it's like entirely local, it's totally confidential. The data doesn't go anywhere, and this runs on my machine. It's not like hosted on any cloud server. And the output gets stored here in terms of a markdown file. This is just for convenience of myself, but you can create the output to be stored in any format you want. Now, these are the 4 pillars in which the critic agent we just saw here would work. Okay, so data is grounded. Okay, so what it checks is like cites actual metrics from the analyst. Now, this analyst agent, it would have given the click-through rate and retention metrics to these specific agents, to the strategy maker. So the critic agent verifies if that specific data has actually been used for creating the strategy. If not, it rejects it. And then competitive edge. So the competitor spy agent, whatever report it has given to my strategy agent. So again, if the specific idea has been adapted from that specific report, then it gives 3 points to it. Now, actionability, so clear titles, thumbnail concepts, hook ideas. So these should not be like generic, like create a hook title or create a viral title. Not like that. It should give me actual video titles which are clear, and then thumbnail ideas which are also clear, and then hook ideas which are also clear. Okay. And finally, feasibility. So for me, I'm a single creator. I don't have any huge team who's like editing my videos or promoting it or like distributing it. I do all of it as a single person running my YouTube channel. Okay. So it also calculates the feasibility score for me if that's possible for me to do. And yep, so basically as simple as it. So here, this is the Ralph Wiggum loop I was talking about, where you have a bunch of agents, and each agent it does not require your input at all points in time in order to kind of evaluate and improve that specific agent. So based on this critic agent's response, the strategy maker kind of refines the plan and then gives it you. I'll show it to you how exactly it looks like in action. So I have my this opened up. Okay, let me maximize a little bit so it's like easily visible for you. Let me close this off a little bit. Okay, So as you can see, as once I've like run my Python file, so it's like analyzing my channel with sample competitors channel. And first, it's like fetching channel data using the data fetcher agent, and then it's running channel analyst, which analyzes my entire YouTube channel and also maintains cache. So since this is the second run that I'm doing, it fetches only the new available data, which is one or two shots that I've posted in the interim. And then it runs a competitor's spy agent where it gets spy insights, and then it drafts the initial strategy. Okay. Now, this is where the loop begins. So the strategy agent kind of starts the critic loop. And then out of 5 iterations, this is on the first iteration. And it has given me the strategy report to the critic agent. So the critic agent gives the critic report and gives it a score of 5. So it also mentions what's good. The thumbnail concepts and hook structures are specific and visually clear. That's good. But what is bad? Explicitly admits integrity check failed and relies on inferred patterns instead of citing actual Arthi's channel metrics, which is crazy, right? So because this strategy agent apparently hallucinated, and the critic agent caught it by saying, hey, you're not supposed to infer patterns that you know of, but instead look at what the channel analyst agent gave you from Arthi's channel and give a response based on that. Okay, so which is good. And also it uses generic placeholders like current tool, new Google feature, which render the plan unusable without further editing. This is also a good catch because it needs to give me current trending tools to kind of demo current trending features that are currently live. So I guess the initial draft loop, draft report that the strategic agent gave missed all of these things. And it also suggested required revisions. So reinsert actual RT channel analytics and recalculate it, and replace all bracketed placeholders with concrete example. Adjust the daily dev brief frequency to a realistic cadence, that is 3 times a week or specific automatic. So these are all a couple of revisions that the critic agent has like given back to the strategic agent. So the status currently is like rejected, revise, and resubmit. It's like a very strict teacher if you think about it. Now, the strategy agent is like creating another loop, and it's like on the second iteration out of 5 iterations. Now, for this report, the critic has given actually a score of 8. So this threshold is what we kind of like defined, if you think about it here. So score of about 8, only then it would kind of approve. You can, if you want a very high level, you know, not something with any errors in it, you can even improve the score, increase the score to be like around 10 or something. But yeah, again, you can change it anytime. Now it has given a score of 8, which means it's going to be approved. And it still has some kind of a bad thingy that's happening in the strategy engine, and then also required revisions if needed. So now, since it's approved, the critic approved the strategy, and strategy successfully returned to a specific location. Okay. Now this is how the markdown file looks like, which the strategy has been given for the analysis that it has done. Okay. Now, current channel check for my YouTube channel. So current channel click-through rate is 2.1%, but then industry benchmark is 4.5%. So I'm currently underperforming, which is understandable considering I'm a new channel. I'm still learning and making mistakes. And audience retention also drops, category overlap, high competition with, this is some sample channel that it has automatically fetched. But if you want, you can give actual channel ID of the channel that you're looking for, and it will compare and give you nice results. Okay. And it also gave me a couple of issue identified specific fixes with respect to like thumbnails, the 30-second hook, and add some opinions. So this is basically a list of to-do list or action items for me to kind of implement, so that my next couple of videos, if I follow this, might go viral. So this is the strategy that my this whole agent is kind of giving me. Now, it also gave me priority wise action items. So the audio briefing that I do, that's kind of like a game changer for me because that gets the most views. And also like a couple of the priorities. I'm not going to bore you with that. And channel level recommendations also is there. So basically, whatever the the strategy agent is supposed to give you, like SEO and tag correction and so on, it can you can basically modify it and get any kind of an output you want. So let's actually see that in action, shall we? Like how the agent runs. But before that, let me quickly check if everything is like working well. I'm going back to my live stream. Okay, and if you have any questions or comments or anything in particular, you can always like post it in the comments, and I'll look at it and I'll respond back to you. Okay. Um, okay. So yes, no questions so far. Unfortunately, today we were not able to go live on Instagram due to a technical glitch. It happens. But yeah, it's always available on YouTube if you're not watching it on YouTube. So yeah, basically, let me reshare my screen and let's test this agent. Okay, share screen, window, or entire screen two, share. So where am I? Yeah, so this is the app, the front end of the application that I just showed you. Now, what I'm supposed to do is like I've given a specific placeholder for entering my channel ID and the competitor channels that I want to analyze. Now, how do you get the channel ID? That's there are two ways you can get it. So one is basically go to my channel, and then if you kind of do an inspect here and do a Control F or Command F and search for what do I search for? IDA or something. Nope. I think this is not how you do it. There is also another site from which you can get it. Competitor pick, I guess. Competitor pick. Oops. Or I guess like we can find channel ID. Sorry, ID. Oh, something's wrong with my keyboard. Find ID. There is. I think I have it open somewhere. Oh yeah, comment picker, not competitor picker. Awesome. So if I have my channel link, which I have it right here, I'll just copy it and then paste it over here. So do a little bit of a math. I guess 8 and watch out get channel ID. So basically this is my channel ID. Okay. Now going back to the tool, I am pasting it here. Now I do have a specific YouTube channel in mind. It's Sabrina Romanov. So I am basically a huge fan of this YouTube channel because she posts a lot of different videos which are highly useful. She doesn't edit much, but then if just look at the video, it's like very low profile, very on brand for her. So it's basically she admits to this, like she's one of the very blurred and low quality video creators online, but she kind of has like 145K subscribers, which is kind of nice. So I kind of want to kind of understand her strategies and what kind of videos she posts. So I'm getting her channel ID for just experimental purposes. Now I'm pasting her channel ID over here and I'm going to run the strategy agent. Now it fetches the data. It happens in an instant from my channel because it has already fetched the huge data. It's available as cache. It is now only fetching the newly available ones, which is just this live video that's going on. And now the channel analyst is running, which is like analyzing my channel performance based on the last 30 days of what's happening. So yeah, so that's happening. The thing is, it definitely takes a couple of longer period of time. because this is a local AI model that I'm running, Quen 3.5. And so it takes a couple of minutes to give you the entire output. So what we're going to do is, in the meantime, I am going to be running through the different news that's happening across the world. Okay, we just saw the different AI briefs of all the news that happened from Friday to Monday in yesterday's live. Now, while this is running, let me brief you on a couple of things that's happened in the past 24 hours. Okay, now what we saw was GPT. Oh, did I share my screen? I don't think I shared my screen. Oops. Sorry, people. That's an honest mistake from my end. So basically, what I did was, get my channel ID. So I took my URL, channel URL, and there is this specific site using which you can find your channel ID. So enter your channel, do this math, and when you click on it, you get your channel ID. I also fetched one other competitor's channel, Sabrina Romanov, who is like has around 1.5k subscribers, and I'm a huge fan of all of her videos. She posts amazing content for us to kind of learn AI from it. Okay, so I just wanted to understand her strategies. So I took her channel ID and I pasted it over here. And what I did was I simply ran this, and the data fetcher immediately ran because it has all the channel details of myself, like whatever I've posted as a cache that's maintained in the repository. But then again, the next agent is a channel analyst, which is running my whole YouTube channel analytics for the past 30 days, kind of videos I post and everything. Okay, so it's analyzing my channel performance right now. No, as I mentioned, this specific task would take a couple of minutes to process because this is using Quen 3.5 9 billion parameter model, and it will take a while to kind of run the whole thing. So meanwhile, I mentioned that we will take a look at certain news that's happening in the past 24 hours. So on the first news, what we have is basically OpenAI model GPT 5.4 kind of dominates this entire week. It was released on March 5th, if you remember, and GPT 5.4 is the first general purpose model with native computer use capabilities, and it scores 75% on the Oswald verified. We saw all of these news yesterday. It has surpassed human level performance. So basically, if you're a human and if you're accessing your desktop to do a certain action, this GPT 5.4 agent by OpenAI surpasses it by 1%, which is huge because this is the first time an AI agent kind of like overtook human level intelligence, and that's crazy. And a couple of bunch of models are released, and new AI product, app, and tool launches. So all of these, we did see. Or what do I do is basically I'll publish this, so you get to see live as to how I get all of my AI news. So basically, I use Claude's deep research, which researches around 1,000 plus, different things, 1,000 plus websites across the internet, and gets you the latest information possible. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Now, basically, yeah, GPT 5.4. So yeah, GPT 5.4 dominates this week, and then the Google Gemini 3.1 flashlight, that's also one of the lightest and yet faster model. Alibaba's Quen 3.5, which is what we're using right now for this YouTube growth strategist agent, okay, which is cool. It can run locally on your machine, and it kind of like competes with GPT 5.2 and Claude 4.5 Office, okay, on many benchmarks, which is crazy for an open source model. Now, Claude Code has open Opus 4.6, and it now defaults to medium effort for Max and Team subscribers. The UltraThink keyword was reintroduced for effort and so on. Okay, so Claude Code kind of like users auto-migrated to Claude Opus 4.6. Now, there are also a bunch of native MCP servers that were released, And Cloud Code introduced agent loops as one of the skills. So if you are a Cloud Code user, you need not build this whole thing, like how I did for building this specific loop. You can make use of Cloud Code, Cloud Code's skill, agent loop, and give feedback back to Claude so that it keeps running. And then while you sleep, it runs your code or it runs your news or anything that you want to run. Now, Jipu AI released GLM5. So this is again a 744 billion parameter mixture of experts model, and it also have variants of 44 billion parameters. And it has a massive 200K context window, and it has scored 77.8% on the SW bench, and it has trained on Huawei SN chips. Okay, so this is again an open source model currently available in cloud, which also you can kind of use it via Hugging Face or Olama Cloud. Now, AI2 released Olmo Hybrid, a fully open 7B model. This is again a new model that you can kind of experiment with. So that's all about the models of this week. And AWS launched Amazon Connect Health. We did see about it yesterday. So it has 5 purpose-built HIPAA-eligible AI agents for healthcare. Now, I guess one of the different analysts out there called Gartner or somebody predicted this, that 2026 is going to be the year of healthcare in AI agents. Okay, so AI agents are going to take over the healthcare industry, if you will. And then, this is the first step, I guess. So HIPAA eligible AI agents for healthcare, that's a game changer. And it can do patient verification, appointment management, patient insights, ambient documentation, and medical coding. These are highly valuable and, very on-demand tasks, which takes up a lot of time for doctors, nurses, hospital admins, and so on, due to which patient care kind of gets impacted. Now, with all of these things automated with the help of AI agents, I guess we are looking at, game-changing healthcare, if you will. And AWS also made policy in Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, which is generally available for governing AI agent tool access, and introduced OpenClaw and Amazon Lightsail. So I don't know how many of you have heard about OpenClaw, which is an open source autonomous AI agent which went viral in the mid-February, if you're not aware. So this is basically your personal AI assistant that can do anything and everything for you. If you install it on your system, I would advise you not to install it on your machine, which literally has all of your data. If you have a spare system at home or a Mac Mini at home, or you can use it on AWS instance, free trial would work. That is recommended because, let's say, unknowingly you give OpenClaw all of the access. It might kind of delete all the stuff, unknowingly, for performing a separate some other action. But OpenClaw is like an open source autonomous agent, now currently under proprietary open source model of OpenAI, because they hired the founder of OpenClaw, Peter Steinberger. So yeah, so currently it belongs to OpenAI now. Now, basically, yes, this OpenClaw is available on Amazon Lightsail. Okay, and it can integrate easily with Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, and Discord, which is awesome. You can literally chat with the OpenClaw without opening your terminal using your Telegram or WhatsApp or any messaging platform that you use, and it gets the task done for you and responds back to you on that specific app. So WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever. Now, Synopsys launched Electronics Digital Twin platform on March 10th, the first open solution for creating electronic digital twins for physical AI systems. Initially targeting automotive Volvo cars as an early partner, it enables up to 90% of software validation before hardware availability, which is cool. Electronics Digital Twin. So upon first reading it, what I thought was this would be used in kind of a healthcare system, because that's where a digital twin is like very essential to kind of run experiments and so on. Let's take a look at what exactly it is. So physical AI system development. But why does a car need it anyway? Okay, we'll never know. But anyways, open platform to create, deploy, manage, and use electronics digital twins. Okay, establishing a new integrated and collaborative engineering paradigm across electronics, software, and systems. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I completely misunderstood. So this is entirely for electronics. That's why I guess Volvo is like one of the first partners. So physical AI is about to get game-changing updates because let's say you're building a car, okay, and you want to understand the different features. Let's say you are implementing a new automatic something like automatic braking systems or automatic direction change, something like that. But instead of like testing it on a real car, you can test it on a digital twin. So it kind of like runs simulations on it so that your real car would work the same way, which is cool. Awesome. I just expected that it would be for healthcare. Anyways, now, Google Research and Synaptics together launched Coral Dev Board on March 10th, integrating Synaptics Torque NPU with the industry's first implementation of Google's Coral NPU. Pre-configured with Gemma 3, 270 million for on-device AI, integrating wearables, smart home, robotics, and industrial control. So, from all of this, what you can understand is basically AI is getting physical in 2026 with cars, the physical robots, and now this specific Google and Synaptics, together forming high performing NPU. So what is NPU? Let's see. We know CPU, GPU, but then what? Neural programming unit. I don't want to take a guess. um, Basically, what's NPU? Oh, this is the NPU hardware. Okay, but what is NPU? Let's see what Google Coral NPU means. Is an open source, ultra low power neural process. I was right. Oh, I'm a genius. So it's a neural processing unit designed for efficient, always on AI inference on edge devices like wearables. Okay, nice. Because GPU and CPU requires a lot of power and it cannot remain always on. So this means the specific story means, I guess, wearables, watches, and everything are gonna be AI-fied, if you will, which is nice. Now, ChatGPT for Excel launched an Excel add-in bringing ChatGPT directly into workbooks for financial modeling. I mean, would anybody use it? Probably. But then with Claude co-work in the picture, is this even necessary? And with a lot of users who are quitting ChatGPT and moving on to Claude, I think this is a very late feature that's released by ChatGPT, but then that's just my opinion. Now, OpenAI launched Codex Security in research preview on March 6th. Okay. Okay. So this is basically a amazing thing because this is an AI security agent that identifies complex code vulnerabilities and minimizes false positives. Nice. So this is currently rolling out to these different users of ChatGPT, sorry, users of OpenAI subscription, and with free usage for the first month for these users, which is nice. So when you're writing code and if you want somebody to review it, I think this AI security agent does that for you. Not just finding out bugs in the code, like based on the features and so on. It also checks for vulnerabilities. So let's say you build an application and then deploy it, so everybody uses it. So how kind of avoid it from getting hacked is what they mean. And Ravel and Strata Expanse launched Amphix on March 9th, a modular AI infrastructure solution debuting at 30 US sites, providing an end-to-end path from site selection to operational AI production. So what is Amphix? Let's see. Again, yeah, it's a AI infrastructure platform, as I mentioned. The purpose is to accelerate the move from pilot to full-scale AI production for enterprises. I think this is very essential because since I guess 2024 at least, many of the organizations have gone full on into building a lot of AI systems, which are unfortunately in pilot phase right now. But I guess this specific system would kind of integrate site-ready land, power, cooling, and secure edge networking with intelligent orchestration software, this travel thingy. And it's available only in the US, like 40 plus states, and several partners are also there. So again, there's something called Amphix Biotechnology. Wow. So developing supermolecular therapeutic peptides to treat injury, disease, and aging by regenerating tissue. Nice, which is nice. Awesome. Now, DeepL launched DeepL Agent, an autonomous AI system for enterprise workflow transformation alongside its 2026 language AI reports. If I'm not wrong, DeepL is something that many of the enterprise use for translations. Yes, that is it. So this specific translator agent kind of got an upgrade, I guess. And then Tencent launched its Shrimp Agent Team product matrix, an automated action agent system with memory and execution capabilities. Nice. So what is Shrimp Agent Team? Let's see that. Mm. Oh, it has a platform too. I don't know if it's. Oh no. Not much about it, I guess. Now I'm hungry. So exhibition task manager. Okay, let's take a look at this. Tencent. If I let me find if I can, if there is a specific source. Yeah. So AI base had covered it, and I cannot find from where it has fetched. Let me search for it. So, here it is. So it's work buddy Q Claw. Everyone and enterprises can instantly start the AI agent era. Okay. Why is everybody naming these models and tools with crustaceans like lobster, shrimp, open claw? What is up with people? Anyways, so this lobster faction, basically personal office called Work Buddy. It is a no deployment tool designed for ordinary users, offering instant use without configuration. This tool covers mainstream office scenarios and currently provides a no qualification experience subsidy of 5,000 credits. Nice. So, it's all in Chinese, I guess. Okay, so basically this, you need not deploy it anywhere. It's similar to your Cloud Cowork. You can simply chat with it and then build your AI agents, I guess. Now, mobile control Q Cloud, which is still in testing. So this is a local AI assistant based on OpenClaw, and it supports one-click installation on Windows, Mac. You can install it any device, I guess. The biggest feature is remote control via WeChat. Users can send message to the Lobster assistant to drive home computers to process reports and transfer files. Nice. So basically, if enterprises are adopting it, it means that you need not even open your laptop once you reach home. So let's say your manager pings you and kind of asks you for a report. You can simply open QClaw and then text your AI assistant to kind of create the report based on whatever it has to look into and send it to your manager. Easy. On the other hand, can't the manager do it themselves? Anyways, so it has a bunch of other things, which I guess it's nice. I think Tencent is kind of launching AI agent era for the corporate, which is awesome. Now moving on. So Collective IQ, something called Collective IQ has launched, which is a platform that queries 10 plus LLMs simultaneously to get consensus answers, claiming to reduce hallucination. Okay, so I guess this is something like what Perplexity did. So you have in Perplexity something called Model Council, which is available only for Max users at the moment. So I think Collective IQ also does the same thing. It queries a bunch of large language models, kind of like what we saw over here. See, it's currently running its first iteration, and it has kind of went with all of these different agents, channel analyst. It has analyzed my channel, comped spy. It has looked at Sabrina's channel and gathered all the insights from the channel. And now it is created a strategy which has been fed to the critic agent. Critic agent is now currently evaluating it and will either approve based on the score or kind of reject it if it's say less than 8. Awesome. So what I was talking about was basically collective IQ does the same thing, kind of does the same thing. So let's say I prompt it with a question. Hey, um, you know, who built Eiffel Tower? There is only one solid answer for this, right? But let's assume some complicated question. But for instance, this is the question that I'm asking. So this collective IQ kind of queries ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini, Quen, GLM, any model of choice, 10 plus large language models basically, and combines all of these answers and gives you the consensus. Like let's say out of these 10, 8 models give you the same answer. So that uh, 8 models answer would be considered as consensus and give it to you. So this would reduce about 73%. Now let's see if this is open source because perplexity, oops, perplexity is apparently not, right? So collective IQ AI. Okay, going in. One question, 4 top models, one collective AI answer. So okay, I think there is no pricing mentioned. So basically, or also it doesn't look very open sourcey to me. Huh. Only when we sign up, we would get the answer, I guess. Okay, I'm not gonna waste your time in here by signing up, confirming it, and so on. But it looks, at least it should kind of, oh, start pumping now. Yeah, I should sign up. Awesome. So at least it looks kind of free and open source to me. I'll check it and then in tomorrow's newsletter, I'll let you know if it's like truly open source. Okay, let's quickly check our agent. Okay, it has rejected the iteration 1 and it's like revising this, revising it by giving it back to the strategy maker. So yeah, it's happening at the back end. Now, where did it go? On the next news, we have Microsoft announced Copilot Cowork as Wave 3 of Microsoft 365 Copilot on March 9th. But in collaboration with Anthropic using Claude's agentic model, it handles long-running multi-step tasks across the full Microsoft 365 data graph. Unlike Anthropic's local cowork, Microsoft's version runs in the cloud. 90% of Fortune 500 now use Copilot, 80% use Microsoft AI agents. Okay. So, can we all agree that the top 2 players who are winning this AI race are Anthropic and Google? How many of you agree? Let me know in the comments, okay? Because I will kind of explain why I'm saying this, because Anthropic, I mean, basically, Claude Code is something that everybody I know uses for everything. I know that it hits its limits every now and then, but then people wait for that limits to come back, and then until then they kind of not work, and then start working with Claude Code. And Gemini, on the other hand, like by Google, Google is this whole ecosystem because they have their own documents, slides, Excel files, whatever, and also they have this email platform, Gmail. They have this whole suite called Google Workspace. So essentially, if an organization is like buying a Google Workspace license, it comes all in. The same way, I guess Microsoft is also there. But then, I mean, let's face it. Microsoft is like far behind. If you kind of think about it, if you compare it with Google, for instance. So personally, I feel Microsoft, but then Anthropic and Google are basically winning this AI race. OpenAI was winning the race for a while, but its latest deal with the Pentagon, it kind of has had an impact on so many users. So many users switched from ChatGPT to Claude, and it has been a disaster. Okay, now Perplexity's computer agentic tool, yeah, that was recently launched. So it is available for $200 per month max users only. So I think that was a huge success. The tool kind of orchestrates 19 AI models, including Claude, Gemini, and Grok. And then Perplexity also confirmed its developer conference Ask is scheduled for March 11th in San Francisco, and confirmed Comet browser is coming to iOS next month. Ah, it's not an iOS yet. Ah, poor Apple users. Anyways, GitHub Agent HQ now allows user to run Copilot, Claude, and OpenAI Codex as coding agents directly in GitHub, VS Code, and GitHub Mobile. Hmm. Okay. So GitHub has launched yet another agent, I guess. Users can run multiple agents on the same task to compare approaches. I mean, isn't that what Google's anti-gravity already does? Well, okay, this is yet another variant, I guess. Now, Anthropic's Cloud Cowork, as we all know, which is saving our everyday life and making our day easier, it continues to expand. It runs in isolated virtual machines on the user computer, handling file organization, document creation, research synthesis, and Excel PowerPoint coordination. Anthropic engineers built Cowork using Claude Code itself in approximately 1.5 weeks. Its launch triggered a $285 billion sell-off in enterprise software stocks. So Anthropic's Claude Cowork essentially put a huge burden on the stock market, especially in India. Okay, so that again is kind of there is a reason behind it, because India is predominantly a service providing leader if you think about it. So there are a lot of product companies which are based in the US, and India supplies workforce to all of those companies. So be it Microsoft, Google, or whatever, in India, you don't have majority of the developers, the main decision makers, but instead, India also has a couple of companies like CTS, TCS, Accenture, and so on, which are service providers. So they build a couple of things for these product-based companies, which are based in the US. So now, because Claude Cowork kind of can do all of the works which these service-based companies can do, their stocks did, kind of like it kind of crashed for a couple of while, which is crazy if you think about it. So yep, and there are a lot of AI company news, but before that, let's look at it. Okay, it's running iteration 2 and it's evaluating strategy, which is nice. Now, again, this is taking a bit of a time because we are using a local AI model, Quen 3.5, a 9 billion parameter model. You can always switch it to any of the cloud models like OpenAI or Gemini or Claude or whatever. It would speed up the time, but again, you have to like kind of trade off with losing your, I mean, making your data pass it via the cloud API. If you're okay with it, you can do it. Okay. Now, moving on to other news here. Um, there are a couple of AMA labs which raised 1.3 billion at a 3.5 billion pre-money valuation, the second largest seed round for European company ever. Nice. Now, these are all bunch of acquisitions funding, which is, if you think about it, it's like pretty boring because none of this money is gonna come to us anyways. But if you're someone who's like investing in stocks and looking for companies that are growing and any startup that's like booming, this segment might be useful for you. Now, Gartner kind of projects worldwide the AI spending will hit $2.5 trillion in 2026 alone, which is a 44% increase. And JP Morgan Chase is driving its tech budget to nearly $20 billion, reflecting the shift from AI experiments to core business integration. I think if you think about it, if you take a look at your organizations that's currently you are in, you will kind of see a push from different leadership teams. Okay, and that is exactly why I'm gonna be telling you what I'm gonna be telling right now. I am conducting a workshop called the Irreplaceable OS. Okay, so if any of you listening to this or rewatching it after it's like posted on my channel, you can become irreplaceable, essentially, unfireable by attending this workshop. So in the workshop, what I'm going to do, let me quickly open um, you know, the whole thing for you so that you get first-hand information on it. So basically, in this specific workshop, what I'm going to do, it's happening on March 7th, March 22nd. So it's a free live online workshop. Okay. And if you're any professional who's wanting to use AI in their current role, you're free and welcome to attend this workshop. And what I'll be covering here is basically why most professionals miss AI opportunities hiding in their own workflow. Okay, and I would help you audit your own workflow live by walking you through the step A of my adapt framework. This is a framework that I developed, which you can use to identify any task that can be automated, in your current workflow, and how to score your task for AI leverage. So we do this live in that workshop together. Okay, and live hot seat, watch a real audit happen in real time on a volunteer soul. So any of you participating in it can kind of like share your audit that you did in that workshop, or I can show you like how a couple of tasks that I have automated in my specific workflows as well. Now, the number one quick win that you can implement in that specific week, because think about it, Claude Cowork was built in 1.5 weeks using Claude Code. So what you can do with all of these free tools that are available. So this is what I'm going to be teaching in this specific workshop. Again, it's free. You can just simply go to this website or scan the QR code that's like over here, or on any social media platform that you follow me, it'll be there on my bio. So just click on it and then register. All right. So it's as simple as that. And yeah, basically that's something that I wanted to mention. Now let's check on our agent. Okay, the critic agent has actually rejected iteration 2 as well. Poor strategy maker. It's like working really hard. All right, so now let's move on to the different news until the agent completes its task. So now OpenAI robotics lead Caitlin Kalinowski resigned. Okay, because of the Pentagon deal. See, this is what happens when you kind of go against your moral compass. I don't know. Sam Altman kind of might had a couple of reasons as to why he kind of went ahead with the Pentagon deal. For those of you who are unaware of what this Pentagon deal is, basically, the Pentagon, which is the U.S. government, kind of wanted to have unrestricted access to Anthropic's Claude model. Okay, Claude currently has a specific guardrails implemented, which also a couple of their safety policies, which means that they cannot use Claude for any of the surveillance purposes or military operations. But Pentagon wanted that for basically this purpose. But Anthropic did not agree. Because of that, Pentagon called Anthropic a supply chain risk and gave all the federal companies across the U.S. to immediately halt all the operations that they have using Anthropic's Claude. So that's the thing that's happening. In between that, OpenAI kind of felt like it was on Anthropic's side, but then again, slyly went ahead and closed the deal with Pentagon, which triggered a lot of users across the internet, and so many of them quit ChatGPT and then went ahead and subscribed to Claude. Because of that, Claude has been on and off, facing a lot of issues, because suddenly there is a huge influx of users who are migrating from ChatGPT onto Claude. Now, these things happened last week, but now Claude is comparatively stable. So yeah, that's all about it. And now OpenAI robotics lead has resigned over this Pentagon deal. And I guess they posted surveillance of Americans without judicial oversight and lethal autonomy without human authorization are lines that deserved more deliberation than they got. Now, she is the most senior OpenAI employee to publicly break with the company. OpenAI said there are no plans to replace her. Huh. So what are they going to do? Build robots using AI? I don't know. And this news, which we saw yesterday, which is basically a company called Block announced plans to cut 4,000 plus jobs, which is like 40% of their workforce. And Oracle is cutting thousands of jobs because of a cash crunch from massive AI data center expansion. And Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella warned that generative AI is accelerating labor replacement. So all these things might kind of like alarm you and kind of, you might be, will I be laid off? So that's exactly why you should attend this workshop. Just letting you know. Okay. Now, Accelera AI integrated Kudelski Labs. Cool name. So it was Europa Edge AI chip on March 10, providing hardware root of trust compliant with EU Cyber Resilience Act. NVIDIA announced a multi-billion dollar optics partnership with Lumentum for next-gen AI data center interconnects. Nice. Now let's see if our agent is done. It's going on iteration number 3 and it's evaluation strategy. And I hope it passes this time. Otherwise, poor strategy maker. Anyways, moving on. Perplexity kind of fully abandoned its advertising business, citing users' trust concerns. Executives told the Financial Times that ads risk making users suspicious of everything. This contrasts sharply with OpenAI, which introduced ChatGPT ads in February 2026. Anthropic ran a Super Bowl campaign. Ads are coming to AI, but not to Claude. Perplexity now focuses on subscriptions and enterprise with 100 million users and 200 million annualized revenue. Nice. So that's a good call by Perplexity because this Pentagon deal is actually strike two for OpenAI because in February, OpenAI kind of announced that they are going to introduce ads in the free version of ChatGPT in order to kind of provide for the free version, which didn't make sense because of their, recently they got a $110 billion investment in their VC round, funding round. So why? Even though they mentioned that these ads will have nothing to do with what they're chatting with the chat gpt, that will be completely private. But then if you think about it, that's how Google ads started, right? So ChatGPT ads, if it's like any general ad, that's fine, I guess, because let's say you're searching, you're giving a prompt in ChatGPT about some kind of a health issue that you have. Okay, now for that exact health issue, what if the ad is like, some kind of a reference to a doctor who treats that health issue, or a medicine that treats that health issue, which is bound to happen, right? That's what happens in Google ads. So this is like a privacy violation, and if the ads are not relevant to what the users are searching for, then I don't think the ads would matter, or like the actual purpose of the ad wouldn't be kind of solved. So that's ChatGPT, and so many outlashes, kind of the internet kind of rose again against ChatGPT for that. So Perplexity kind of fully abandoned its business, and because of Claude's Super Bowl campaign, I don't think ads are anytime coming to Claude. So yes, now there are a bunch of AI regulation policies and different news segments. Now let's see. It's still evaluating this critic agent. It's like very strict, as I mentioned, because I have kind of given a prompt such that it needs to be very strict. So let me quickly open the critic agent's code so that you get to see what kind of a prompt I've given. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. How do I close this? Ta-da. Come on. Critic agent. Okay. So as you can see, let me just. Oh no. Closing it. Closing it. Okay. So as you can see, I've given it a mission to prevent strictly generic fluffy advice. So if the strategy, see, this is, let me just minimize it and see if it works. Okay, so this is a head growth strategist for a top tier YouTube agency, which is me. And it should prevent fluffy advice if the strategy sounds like something. And I've given the evaluation rubric to kind of score it. And the output should be in this exact structure that I've given it over here. And critical instruction is it has to end with a response of so and so on. So basically, it would critically evaluate any output that's given by the strategy agent and kind of give the score. Okay, let's quickly check if the strategy agent, critic agent, oh, it's still running. So you can even see the critic iterations here. So in iteration one, it was only scored 7, so that was rejected. And two, it only scored 6, and that was rejected. So let's see what iteration 3 gives us. So basically, the bad here was basically references competitor internal vaguely without naming a specific competitor or citing a specific tactic from the spy report. Very bad strategic agent. And the goal of increasing subscribers from 500 to 800 in 30 days is aggressive for a channel with low organic retention loops, risking burnout for me. How concerned you are, critical agent. So, hit reject iteration 3 as well. Okay. So required revisions that it suggested in iteration 1 was specify the completed channel, re-upload and remaster, re-optimize, blah, 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 and define the specific 8.2% CTR winning pattern. Not like generic thing, but it needs to define something. Awesome. And in iteration 2, what happened was demanding a full remaster of 3 videos by EOD is physically impossible for a human creator. This critic agent is so concerned about me. I think I have to kind of reframe the prompt because remastering a video by end of the day. Remastering is basically changing thumbnails and stuff, right? I think that's kind of feasible. So I need to implement or like give these agents a couple of idea as to what tools I use, so it can update its feasibility as to how it would do it. Now there is also a generic advice like ask for one comment per viewer or vague. How do I ask for one comment per viewer? And these are the required instructions. Now see, iteration 3 got 6 again. Okay, now spy ID 809 but fails to name a specific competitor again. Why? And then the data citations rely on generic baseline targets without referencing historical performance variance. So it has to give a specific competitor name, add specific historical data from channel analysts. Last month's viral video had 4.8 CTR at the 2-minute mark to justify the new targets rather than generic baselines. Nice. So engagement scripts to reference specific past comment patterns and so on. So it had its own reasons. Nice. But I'm pretty awed by the fact that it considers the manpower needed for creating or kind of implementing the suggestions given by the strategic agent based on a single member who's like running the whole YouTube channel, which is pretty amazing, don't you think? Now it's still running. Okay, let's go back to our news, I guess. But looking at the time, it's been more than an hour of me doing this. So I think we'll kind of take a quick look through different news. So the Anthropic Pentagon showdown, we already saw that. And then what else? Other regulations that were passed. So US Commerce Department kind of drafted regulations about global AI chip shipments. China's new 5-year plan explicitly prioritizes AI advancement. Then US state level action plan is kind of accelerating. The NIST's comment period on AI agent security guidelines closed on March 9th. That's nice. The pro-human AI declaration was published on March 7th. It was signed by hundreds of experts. Key provisions include kind of prohibition on superintelligence development until scientific consensus on safety and mandatory off switches. This is kind of a bummer. If everybody needs to kind of consensually agree to a specific new thing that's been brought in the AI space, we will not get much of a advancement. But again, these regulations are put in place for a reason, and it's very much required that people kind of follow it. Okay. Now, a lot of research papers were released and several breakthroughs happened. I'll link them all in the description. And AI hardware, NVIDIA is like developing something called NemoClaw, which is an open source hardware agnostic platform for enterprise AI agents. So a lot of concentration on enterprise AI agents, if you can think about it, because And if this is something which becomes a norm in the rest of 2026, we can see a lot more layoffs that's happening, because companies are actually building products and infrastructure that's suitable for enterprises to implement AI agents and automate a couple of tasks. So that means companies are going to do it. They are going to be doing it using you as the person who's like automating it, and then eventually kind of replacing those who do not participate in this. So it's high time. If you've already not started with implementing AI agents, you need to get started today. Okay, so bunch of AI agent and agentic AI news. Not something that you haven't already heard. Let's take a look at the agent. It's again revising based on whatever rejections it faced in iteration 3. Let me go around and check if um, any questions have come for me across all of these platforms. So no, not at the moment. Okay. All right. Considering the time and also I'm kind of hungry, so what I'm going to do is basically what I'm going to do is currently end this live right here, and I'll post the result from the AI agent onto my newsletter that I'm going to be sharing tomorrow. Okay. So because currently iteration 4 is running in the loop, so basically, it will take some more time for it to evaluate. And if that gets rejected, then yeah, again, that's a problem. So I'll just wait for the agent to finish it off, and I'll share with the screenshots, the kind of report that it generated, all right, in my newsletter tomorrow. And I'll link it to the description of this video, so you can come back and kind of look at it if you want. All right. So with that, I think I'm gonna end the live right here. I hope you learned something today. You kind of heard a lot of news, learned about agentic loops as a concept, what's Ralph Wiggum technique, and how you can use it to build your own use cases. Okay, and yep, thanks for tuning in and being this amazing listener that you are. So I'll see you tomorrow with yet another new technique, more updates on AI, and much more. All right, see you later.